Agents can now quote and enroll for an Aflac Medicare Supplement plan straight from the CSG Actuarial quote and enrollment platform. In this tutorial, we're going to go through an Aflac Med Supp app start to finish to show you the entire process of submitting an application on CSG. Just keep in mind, as I'm going through today's training, this is a universal e-app, so it will be the same process and look and feel for every carrier and product that we support on our Medicare Supplement and Dental, Vision, and Hearing e-application platform. The Aflac app that we're going to go through here today, as well as any other carrier, may just have different required fields that you would have to fill out as you're going through the application. So one important piece before you hit the Apply Now button to start that application is just to make sure that when you run your quote, you do run it for the effective date of that particular policy. That way you are bringing in any future rates for that particular plan, and just confirm your rating class. If some carrier has multiple different rating classes, you will want to make sure that you select that rating class. Aflac only has one rating class, so you won't have to worry about that. And then if you want to include the household discount in your quote, on the far left-hand side, just click on Apply Discounts, and then make sure that you hit the Apply Now button. So that will carry over the household discount rate into the application. But as you go through the application and make any changes, it would adjust that premium if you choose to remove or apply that household discount. So let's go ahead here and hit the Apply Now button. Now, the first time you try to submit an Aflac application, it is going to validate that you are contracted with that carrier. So it is going to ask for your national producer number. Each carrier is a little bit different on what they are going to ask to validate. So you will always see the Apply Now button for any carrier that we support on our platform. And then once you hit that Apply Now, it's going to ask you to validate. So Aflac does validate with that national producer number. Some other carriers on the platform will validate based upon writing number, so just keep that in mind. Once you enter that in the first time, it will automatically remember that for you, so you don't have to validate your NPN every single time you get into the application. If for whatever reason you need to change the NPN or the writing number associated with that carrier, you can always use the icon settings in the upper right hand corner to change any NPNs or writing numbers that you have stored in the platform. It will carry over your first name and last name and your Aflac writing number. That way you can validate that it is you. Now, a couple of navigations before we get started is I suggest making sure that you have your supported view open throughout completing the application. So you have your overview section where it carries over your quote parameters. You have all of your initial documents right here. So if you needed to capture a copy of the outline of coverage, the disclosures, the guide, the application itself, you can view all of those or send those documents over to yourself or your client through the platform. At the very end of the application, you will be able to print and view all of the documents. Now, depending on the underwriting type that you select, you will end up having sections on the far right-hand side that you will go through and complete. So we'll show you that here in a second. And this is just letting me know that although I am contracted with Aflac, I don't currently have an appointment set up in this particular state. So this just lets you know that we do support the just-in-time appointments on our platform. The other thing that you will notice as you're going through the application is your notification section. So as you're going through the app, it will alert you of any errors in the application. If you do have any errors or notifications, you won't be able to submit the application in the platform. So some of those notifications would be if you select the wrong underwriting type, you answer yes to a declinable health condition, it's going to deny the application and not allow you to submit. So it is a smart app. It's going to make sure that your application is in good working order before it is submitted over to the carrier. So let's first select our underwriting type. You have fully underwritten, open enrollment, and guarantee issue. If you are unsure what any of those mean, you can always click on the I icon for more information. So fully underwritten, open enrollment, and guarantee issue. In this particular case, I am going to do an open enrollment. So they're going to be within that 6-month period of applying for a Medigap policy. Keep in mind, if you are doing a birthday rule state, all birthday rule states for Aflac are going to be considered an open enrollment. So it's not going to be guarantee issue. Any applications for Aflac for birthday rule states will be open enrollment. If I were to select a wrong underwriting type, it is going to notify me of that based upon my plan eligibility. Also, based upon your underwriting type, you're going to have certain health sections on the far right-hand side that you will go through. So let's just go through a quick example. If I were to select fully underwritten, however, my plan eligibility along with my birth date is going to produce an error for me, letting me know that I have selected the wrong underwriting type. Now, when you are selecting your dates, you can either use the drop down or you can use your keyboard to type in the date. Sometimes that's a little bit quicker there. And then as soon as you complete that section, you can go ahead and hit that blue continue button in the bottom right hand corner. Now, when you are doing a fully underwritten app, you will notice that you will have additional sections on the application that you will go through and complete. Here's that error notification that just says, based upon the information you have entered, you are currently eligible for an open enrollment. Please change your underwriting situation on the select underwriting screen. So I will do that here before we proceed, but a couple of things I just wanted to show you for these sections when you're doing an underwritten is you will have 3 additional sections. You will have the health information section. This is going through and answering all the health questions. If you do answer yes to a declinable health question, it is going to deny the application automatically, not allowing you to submit. You do have your health history, where this is where you will enter in any medications that you are taking. Just make sure that when you are putting in any type of medications that you are selecting that particular drug, the reason or the condition that you're taking it, and then you can add that entry. So just make sure that you add the entries after every single time, and then you can always hit that trash if you want to remove any of that. So again, those error icon mean just there's missing information in that particular section that you need to answer before you would be able to submit that application. So I'm going to go back to my select underwriting situation screen and change it back to open enrollment, and then we will go through this application here. So as I hit open enrollment, I'm then going to hit that continue button, and my sections on the far right hand side will update for me. As you are going through this application, the system will save each particular section as you end up completing it. So you'll notice there's no save button, so the system is automatically saving as you hit continue and go on to the next section. So here it does carry over our plan type. That was a plan G. If I were to change it to a different plan type based upon my eligibility, it would update the premium on the far right hand side. Anything with a red asterisk is going to be required. So this is where, as you're utilizing the platform for multiple carriers, certain fields are going to be required based upon certain carriers. So we're going to go through this application, as I mentioned, start to finish, filling out all of the required fields. Our resident address, we can type that in. If they do have a PO box, this is where you can say that the mailing address is different. So you can select yes to that and answer those particular questions. You will notice all of the data from the quote does carry over, so we don't have to re-enter a zip code, a city, or the state. It does take that from the quote that we ran. Phone number and email is going to be critical here based upon how you are going to electronically sign the application. So for Aflac, we do have a text option as well as an email option. So if you want to utilize those, I would recommend starting to put that client's information in this particular field. Once you get to the signature page, if you enter in a home phone number here, you will be able to change it to a cell phone on that signature page. If you don't enter in an email here, you would be required to enter in an email to do an email signature. So age, date of birth, female, are you a legal resident of the United States? We can select yes, and then go ahead and hit that continue button. Now here is where we will go ahead and put the definition of that household discount. So in the quoting tool, we will tell you the percentages, and if it's a multi-insured, meaning both spouses have to have a policy with that carrier, or if it's a roommate, they just have to be living with the spouse or somebody over a certain age, and that carrier defines that age. But here within the application, we actually define the full description of that household discount for you. So if you do answer yes to this, you would be required to type in the first name, the last name, the relationship to the applicant. If they have a policy number already, you can type in that policy number. As soon as you go through this particular section, it would update. If you answer yes, it would update to that premium that's going to support that household discount definition, okay? So again, if you want to include that on your initial quote to make it easier as you're going through the application, I would recommend doing that. The next is going to be the Medicare information section. So you can see here, Social Security number is going to be required. Medicare card number is not a required field, but you can enter it here within the application. It will carry over your Medicare Part A and Part B effective dates from that first screen. Are you applying during your guarantee issue period? I am going to put no because I am applying during my open enrollment, that 6-month window. So did I turn 65 in the last 6 months? Yes. Did I enroll in Medicare Part B in the last 6 months? I'll go ahead and select yes, and then that effective date for that, just verifying. Again, you can type in with your keys or use the drop-down menu to select your dates. And then we can hit the continue button. Now, if you want to hop around 2 different sections, you absolutely can do that as you're going through the application. If you need to come back to a particular section, just navigate over here on the far right-hand side. Now, this is your previous or existing coverage information. So if you do answer yes to one of these questions, it is going to ask you for additional information. So if you are doing a fully written Med Supp app and they were going from a Med Supp from one carrier or plan to another, this is where you would want to put in all of those particular details. Also, if you have any overlaps in the effective date of this with the termination date of the other plan, it could cause some errors. So just make sure that you don't have any overlap in those particular dates. And then again, based upon how you answer those questions, different fields are going to populate for you to complete, and then we can hit that continue button. Now, method of payment section is where we will first be asked about our wet signature if we want to print for a wet signature. So what a wet signature is you are filling out everything in the application electronically, and then you are printing off that application. So it's going to be on a piece of paper, and you're going to have your client physically sign that application, and then you are sending it in to the carrier. So if you want to do that, you can do that here. If you are doing a wet signature, you will be allowed to pay that initial premium by check. Just keep in mind you will need to send that check in with the carrier. If you want to do everything electronically, so submit it without having to print it off, you don't have that first option for that initial premium as check. Everything is going to be automatic bank withdrawal. So then we'll be able to select the first draft premium on the effective date. I'm going to select that, and then how I want to continue paying, if I want to pay annually, semi-quarterly, or monthly. So I'm going to go ahead and select monthly here. The draft date of that, I'm going to keep that as the first, but I do have other options, as you can see. When we do EFT, we can either do it from a checkings or a savings account. We cannot do a credit card, so we can select checking, and then we can then enter in the routing number. As you start by typing in that routing number, you'll have options that come up. The financial name will carry over, and then you will just enter in that particular account number, and then first name and last name that is shown. This next question is really important. Is the account owner different than the proposed insured? So if somebody else is paying for their monthly premium and you select yes here, you will have that particular individual also needs to sign this application. So there's going to be another step for you at the very end where you will have to print off the application and have that additional person sign it. So just kind of keep in mind you have that information that comes up. So if it is a husband and wife that share their bank account, again, it's going to be that it's not different because that spouse is also on that particular bank account. Now here, please make sure that you put first name. So please put the applicant's first name. If it is a husband and wife, do not put Jane and Bob Smith, just put Jane's name in there. After that, we can go ahead and hit that continue button. The next section is going to be the to be completed by producer section. So this is just listing any policies that were sold in force, how you want to deliver the policy, if that's sent to the applicant or the producer. I'm going to send it to the applicant here, and then if you want to deliver everything electronically, I will select yes for that. Have I truly and accurately recorded the information? I'm going to select yes to that. And then the application was provided to the applicants to review. Yes, I'm going to put that in here. We will review all the documents at the end, but keep in mind you do have access to all the additional documents in the far right hand side in that navigation bar. You will then type in your first name, last name, address, city, state, and zip. As soon as you type in your zip code, it's going to carry over that city and the state. Producer email, that way you can get some copies of the application. Writing number. Producer phone number. Agency name. If your agency name is the same as your producer name or you don't have an agency name, this is a required field, so just type in your first name. If you do not have an agency name, just type in your first name there. And then here's where you can upload any supporting documents. So if you do have to upload a notice of termination or evidence of insurance, you can upload any supporting documents to this. Just make sure that you choose that file. That file does need to be in a PDF format. Once you choose that file, you will upload and then add the entry. So just don't forget to click on add entry. Now they do allow for split commissions. So if you are splitting commissions, you can select yes here. When you select yes, it is going to ask what percentage and then that agent's first name, last name, and writing number. So you will need all of that information. I'm going to select no here, and then I'm going to click on verify application. Now that I have all green check marks on every single section, I will be able to go ahead and lock and e-sign it. This gives you one last opportunity to review that application start to finish. If I do need to go in and edit a particular section, I can do that here. And then that print for signature, this is that wet signature. So if you decide to do that option, you'll be able to print for the signature. Otherwise, if you want to do everything electronically, we're going to hit lock and e-sign. Now we have some different options on how you are going to be able to electronically sign that. First, we are going to go ahead and agree to doing an electronic signature. If you wanted to print this consent, you can. We will give you an opportunity to get the printed version of this at the time of submission on the application too. So we can go ahead ahead and click on agree and continue. So for here with Aflac, we have 3 different signature options. We have applicant providing identification information, an email signature link, or a text signature link. You will be able to do certain signature types based upon if you were in the same physical location. So if you are face-to-face completing that application, you have all 3 options here. I would say the easiest is going to be applicant providing identification. So if you were face-to-face, all you need to do is open up each of these documents. So as you click on outline of coverage, an outline of coverage is going to open up in a new tab on your computer for you to view. So you can view a copy of that outline of coverage, and then you'll go back to the e-application tab on your screen, and then you will open up the disclosures, the guide, the application. So you do need to open up each particular document. Let's go ahead and open up the application document so I can show you what that looks like. Here's that application. Again, you will be able to see that we went through and electronically completed everything. So this is something that we recommend you opening up, reviewing, and making sure that this has been printed off. So again, you would open up each document. Once you open up each document, you will then check mark, I have received, read, and kept a copy of the above documents. You will type in the applicant's mother's maiden name. You will type in their last 4 digits of their social security number, and then enter in their zip code, city, and state. You will then click on apply signature, and then your producer name and agent ID will carry over, and then you will click on apply e-signature, and then you'll be able to sign your application. If you're not able to get that sign application open, that means that you missed one of these steps. So again, just make sure that you've opened up every single document so they're all green with the check mark. So you can see here I did not open the disclosures or the guide, so I can't click on I have received, read, and kept a copy. So make sure all the steps are completed. Once you sign it, you are then done. That application has been submitted to the carrier. There's no additional steps that you have to take unless you have somebody else who is going to be paying that monthly premium, or there would be an additional step for you to have them sign it. Now, if you are not in the same physical location, you have 2 options. You have an email signature link or a text signature link. So if I click on email signature link, it will carry over that applicant's email from here. Notice I am able to change it if I need to from what I previously had, and then it will carry over your producer name and your agent ID. If I select text message, this is where I am going to be prompted to type in a phone number that's going to be a cell phone. Keep in mind when you are doing a text signature, we do still need internet on that phone. So they do have to be connected to Wi-Fi or have their cell phone coverage, being able to get internet access to that. So in today's demo, we are going to complete this application using that email signature link so we can show you all the steps. Just keep in mind the steps for an email signature link and a text signature link are going to be identical. The only difference is that they will receive a text message with their link and their verification code, and then all of the screens following will be the exact same. So email signature link, I have applicant's email address, producer's name, producer ID, and then apply e-signature, and I'm going to go ahead and hit sign application. You will now see that I see pending applicant signature. This does notify me that the link that my client receives is only going to be valid for 2 hours, so we'll talk about that here. And then you will get an opportunity to have a copy of all of the documents. So this is where you, the agent, can also view all of those documents if you weren't completing it in person and opening up every document. So we're going to now click on View Applications. This is your e-applications panel, so this is where you can track all of your applications, any incomplete submitted applications that are pending client signature. So as I mentioned, my client has a 2-hour window to sign their application. If it's past that 2-hour window, they will not be able to sign it. So you would have to resend that signature. If you ever edit that application in the middle of them trying to sign it, it will void their application. So just kind of keep that in mind too. So all of this was sent over to Jane's email. So we're going to go ahead and open up her email. Here is the email that the client will receive. It will come from your agent, and then it does say Aflac underwritten by Tier 1 Insurance. So just keep in mind it will have that carrier's name on it. You can see that it does come from a do not reply at CSG email address, but you, the agent, is copied in on this email. So if you need to walk your client through the steps, you will be able to do that, as well as view their code. So if you're on the phone with them, you want to read that off to them, you'll be able to also receive a copy of this. So what they will do here is they will copy or write down this particular code. So I'm going to copy that code, and then I'm going to click on Verify Signature. So we have made a lot of great improvements to the email and text signature options, making sure everything is on one screen for the applicant to go through and complete. So you'll notice that on this particular screen, we're going to go through verify, consent, review, and confirm. That way the applicant knows all of the steps that they are taking as they are signing. So this is where I'm going to type or paste in that verification code. Again, if you want to read that off to your client, you can. The great thing about it is they just receive one email with the code and the link, so it's easy. Same with text message, they would receive one text with the link and the code in the same text. Now here's where it's very important that the applicant's date of birth needs to match what you inputted in the application. So if you put the wrong date of birth and they're typing in their date of birth, it will not allow them to verify and continue. So this is a case where you may need to edit that application and then redo the signature. So we're going to click on verify and continue. Another reason why that would not verify is if it's past that 2-hour window. So we have a green check mark on the verify. The next is going to be our consent. So this is just agreeing to do the electronic signature. So we'll hit the blue button, agree and continue in the bottom right hand corner. The next step is them reviewing all of the documents of the application. So no longer does it open up a new tab, it will just stay on this page. This is really easy for your clients to now complete. So in the upper right hand corner, you're going to see 4 dots here. That means we're going to go through 4 different documents. So this is the outline of coverage. If I needed to download that outline of coverage, I have an option. I can just scroll through that preview here. But after I have acknowledged and continue, it's going to take me the next step, which is going to be the disclosures of doing that electronic signature. So notice as soon as I acknowledge, I will have a green little box up here at the top. So again, they can download those disclosures, acknowledge and continue. We now have the choosing a Medigap guide. We can acknowledge and continue. And then the last is going to be the application. So they will just review this application and then hit acknowledge and continue. So then it's going to show them that they have reviewed all 4 of those documents. And then if they wanted to download all the documents at one time, they can do that. So it's very simple for them just to view the document in the screen without having to open up the document. After that, we'll go ahead and click confirm and continue, giving them one more step, which is going to be the confirmation. So the last part of the application is going to be confirm their location. So this is going to be their actual signature. So this is where we will type in the client's zip code here. It will then populate the city and the state, and then they will be able to complete that signature. So when I click on complete signature, I have gone through all the pieces of the application. It will now tell me that my policy number is pending and that I can close this particular window. Now, depending on the carrier, it may provide them the application number. Otherwise, you will receive that application number after it has been submitted. So now if I go back to my e-applications panel, I will be able to see that status of the application. Now keep in mind, I am in a testing environment, so my applications are not submitting because we don't want to actually submit it over to the carrier. So mine will say failed, but you can see I do have that policy number that ended up generating here for me. So that's something that we can reference. What you want to look for is that green submitted button right there. Once it has been submitted, you will be able to view a copy of that PDF application, and also we have links over to those carriers portals for you as well. So this is just the case of me being in a testing environment. Now, if you ever do receive a real submission failure, just keep in mind that we are alerted of all of those immediately. So we will reach out to you likely by email within the first 5 minutes to review why that had a submission failure. Some cases we will be able to resubmit it for you. There might be some errors in the application that we have to go through and review. So if you ever want to contact our support team directly, you can contact us through the system by clicking on the support button in the upper right hand corner on your dashboard page. You can always reach out to us by phone or by email. So we do have our phone number in here for you to give us a call if need be. But just keep in mind, we'll contact you right away if we're seeing any submission failures on your application. But feel free to reach out to us as well if you have any questions on submitting applications in the CSG tool.